In this video, we're going to cover the basics of handling a scrolling window. Now we are on scroll to level 14 and then click on 14. What we need to do is scroll over to the 14th and click it. And unfortunately, level 10 has a different variation of that, which is scroll to level 14, it's a little different, and then click on 14. And this one, 14's in the middle on level 10. On level 9, 14's on the corner. Solve it two different ways. And there is one way of solving it that will work for both. I'm on level 9, and this time I'm going to add an event, and I'm going to call it level 9. And in this case, I want to go ahead and grab this 9 button here. Hit test, make sure it works. And then I'm going to add a new event. So let's see, one way of doing this, so I need to scroll. Oh no, it locked up again. And back to level 9. On this one, we need to scroll, either scroll once or scroll twice. Let's practice scrolling. Let's see, I have an event on level 9, and I want to get rid of that. I actually added another event. I'm going to get rid of it. The way to get rid of it, you can right click, advanced, and delete. It'll remove it. So again, we're on level 9. I want to add an action, and I'm going to call this scroll level 9. And I'm going to click on swipe. And when you do swipe, you click on one spot and then you drag and it'll draw a little arrow. And that's where it's going to drag to. So it's going to click here and drag to that point. It's going to do that in 500 milliseconds, which is a half a second. So a half a second is how long it's going to take. And it's going to drag that way. This is really good if we were to have both screens up, so you can see which way it works. I'm going to hit test, and it did the scroll. And look how far it scrolled. It scrolled it to 7. Let's go all the way back. Let's change the velocity. We'll change the velocity to 1500. What do you think that would do? Let's hit test. And instead of going to 7, it only went to 6. And that's because it dragged the screen from here to here in 1.5 seconds. So we want it to go faster, so let's set it to 200. I'll also reset it back to where it was and hit test. And now it went to 8. Okay. I'm going to set it to a value that it really won't work on. This app won't recognize it. It's going to drag from here to here in 20 milliseconds. Click it, and it did nothing. So it's not responding. Let's go back to 200 and hit test. And it did a little faster. So let's do something different. Let's make a much bigger arrow. We'll bow back to 1 and hit test. And now I went to 11. I imagine if I went like this, like a very large scroll, it would scroll all the way to the end. Now notice it went to the end and then bounced back and locked there. So that's in fixed position. So if we were to automate 14, if we needed to automate 14, we could do that. Let's go back over here. Let's hit test. It scrolled it all the way to the end, it bounced back, and then we're on 14. Now we already know how to do that. We want to add an event. We want to check that the 14 is there. So 14, level 14, and then we want to click on it. Now let's look at what this is going to do. It's going to check that we're on level 9 by checking over here. Then it's going to scroll, and then it's going to see if it's level 14 and click on it. So we've kind of intentionally made this, there's a little bit of a bug here, but I'm going to go ahead and run it just to show you how to get through that. Let's scroll it back to the beginning. All right, so it scrolls over and it didn't click 14. Why is that? It's scrolling. Let's pause it and look at what our script does. Level 9 is a check here. Then it scrolls to level 9. Then it goes back to home. It doesn't go down. It goes back to home. And then it waits 1 second. If we want this to scroll and then check it, then we need to click continue. So after completion, continue. Continue means keep going down the script. By default, all swipes and clicks by default are back to home. But sometimes you don't want to do that. The reason for doing it like this is so that you can start the script at any place in your activity and it'll still work. If you had built this script with continues, then everything might have needed to be in the same order. So I changed it to continue, and then it's set to continue, and then wait a second, and then click 14. So let's hit run. Let's go back to the, all right, back to the scroll. Scroll. Scroll, level 9, 14. Okay, so it actually worked, and unfortunately, the level 10 screen looks really close to the level 9 screen. So that worked, but it's not exactly right. And the reason is, it's scrolling, and then continuing, and then it's doing the check. Well, we don't need it to actually scroll all the time. And I'm actually going to change the scroll to back to home again and save it. And what I need to do is move level 14 up instead. So if it's level 9, is level 14 at the end? If it's not, then I need to scroll. I'm also going to change my scroll a little bit like this. I'm going to change it to this, a little shorter, so it just scrolls a few times, just so you can see how that works. So again, level 9. If level 14 is here, click it. Otherwise, scroll. I'm going to save and run. And we're on level 10 now. Let's go back to 8. Oh, let me pause it and reset where it is. So we're at level 9, starting at the beginning, resume the script. So there's a scroll, level 14 was in place, and it clicked it. So scroll, found an egg, and then level 14 and clicked it. Now that works, and let's see, there's another thing okay. Level 10 is going to be a little bit different. We won't be able to use this logic because this says if we see blue here, now we're going to scroll, and we can't scroll to the end now because it's not even on the screen. Let's work on level 10. Added event, level 10, and we'll make sure we have the colors of level 10 on there, and then add an event. We want to have a scroll event. Oops, I had add event. I actually want an action, so let's delete that. Let's add a action. The action is going to be scroll, and we'll scroll like this. Let's do 300. If we're looking at level 9, we need to do our check before we do the scroll. We need to add an event. It's object search, and we need to find level 14. Let's go ahead and scroll over to where we want to find it. Level 14 is right there. We'll click take a screenshot. We'll click create object with this image, and we'll grab that 14. I'm not going to grab those stars just in case they're not colored in. Let's call this gray 14 level. I'll use this make object and use. So if it finds 14, it's going to click it. It looks for it. Now, we don't need to search, see how 14 is. we don't actually need to search. 14 can be anywhere on this pathway here. So let's set our mask to be appropriate. And since 14 is just this picture here, we don't even need to go that big. This should be good enough. So if we find 14, we click on it and we scroll. And scroll needs to be at the bottom. So I hit Control up arrow to move it up. I could also do it by dragging it to the parent and it will drag it, it'll resort them. So if I click on Find Grave 14 level, move it to the level 10, it will move it up to the top. So I wanted to, if we're on level 10, find the 14. If I find it, click it. And if I don't, scroll. All right, let's hit run. We're on level 9. And let's hit run the script. Level 9 does the scroll. Scroll, finds 14. We'll find 14. Now we're on level 10. Scroll. Scroll. And it found 14. So in this video, we covered 2 ways to handle a scrolling window. In the next video, we're going to show you how to do some application development by managing a power meter and playing with the internal application logic, as well as using the random number generator to add some variation to our script.